at WNYC.org. Nice night out there, 42 degrees under clear skies at 6:30.
WNYC is supported by Explo, a summer enrichment program for kids and teens entering grades 4 through 12 in Boston, Berkeley, London, New York, and Oxford. More information is available at explo.org/summer.
WNYC, independent journalism in the public interest. 93.9 FM and AM 820. NPR News and the New York Conversation.
All right, you know what? It turns out that what happens in Vegas definitely does not stay in Vegas. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by C3 Generative AI, verified traceable answers, secure, hallucination-free, LLM-agnostic, IP liability-free. Learn more at c3.ai. And by Brave Ads, a modern digital marketing alternative that helps brands connect with hard-to-reach audiences, even those with ad blockers. Learn more at brave.com/ads. And by Buyside from the Wall Street Journal. Buyside's reviews and recommendations help consumers decide how to spend their time and money at wsj.com/buyside.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Thursday, today, the 8th of February. Good as always to have you along, everybody. We launched a series a couple of weeks ago called Breaking Ground, on the premise that what the Biden administration is trying to do with the trillions of dollars of federal spending in the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, and the bipartisan infrastructure law, how that money is being spent specifically, it's got some historical precedent.
So, of course, Roosevelt comes into office, he calls the Congress into emergency session, and we have the famous first 100 days.
Bill after bill pours into Congress from the White House. Whatever Roosevelt wants, he gets. The House is burning down.
We are not, repeat, not, saying that what's happening now is a new deal. But the same way that before the New Deal, there was the government and the economy, and then after the New Deal, there was the government in the economy, maybe this is another turning point. So today, one street, in one neighborhood, in one city, and for very different people who have that street in common.
So on Stewart Avenue, we
kids crossing the street in the mall.
This neighborhood here on the east side of Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, Nevada. You're probably hearing about it a lot right now with the Super Bowl and the Republican and Democratic primaries and the GOP caucus. This, however, is not that. Well, here we are in the 207 bus on Stewart. Stewart Avenue comes out of downtown Las Vegas, which is north of the Strip and all the big hotels and casinos. It takes a dogleg left and then runs straight east, as does the 207 bus. All right, I'm going all the way in the back. 7-Elevens on either side, a couple of strip malls, a newish looking community center on one corner. Lots and lots of high-density housing. Apartments, really. The farther east you go, away from town, street after street of apartments and one-story houses hidden behind tall cinder block walls. Oh, yeah, so here's more of the walls, right? Look at this. And a tiny little sidewalk, which is just brutal. Can you imagine this on a June day, July day? Forget it. There are parts of Stewart where the sidewalk just ends, or where the street goes from 4 lanes to 6 to handle all the traffic. This is East Las Vegas, where a lot of this city's service workers live. It's mostly Hispanic, and it's a neighborhood that's going to be completely changed. The businesses, the transportation, the quality of life by the infrastructure law, which is the government in this economy. So the proposed project runs all the way down here, right? All the way out this way? Las Vegas is getting $24 million from the Department of Transportation. It's going to match that with $24 million of its own to do a whole big series of infrastructure upgrades on a 4-mile stretch of Stewart Avenue. And I know what you're thinking. Road construction happens all the time. Not that big a deal. Nothing new here. What is new is what the government's trying to do with this project, and really with the infrastructure spending for all of the thousands of Stewart Avenues out there in cities all over the country that are getting their slice of this federal money. Improving racial equity, making economic mobility easier or even possible, mitigating the effects of climate change, things that only federal dollars can do at scale when the government steps into a local economy. And we should remember here that this is an election year, and it is far from settled that this is what the government should be doing with taxpayer money. That's what elections are for. There are 3 schools within walking distance of the 207 bus stop near the intersection of Stewart Avenue and 28th Street. Maybe, the city says, the busiest stretch of this road. When school gets out, something like 200 people, kids, their parents, sometimes pushing strollers or with toddlers on their shoulders, they cross this intersection every day in the space of about a half an hour. The crossing guard putting up the stop sign for herself.
Oh, yeah, it's power trip.
Totally. Kima Hanley's the crossing guard here. All right, so let's chit-chat before you actually start. How long do you think till you actually start?
5 till.
5 till. All right, so we got some time. So what's your basic shift like? You show up at 1:45-ish, right?
1:45-ish, yes.
And then what happens?
And then we pretty much wait for you'll see the river of people coming soon. It's like a tsunami of people, but for some reason we've got it down. You know, there's all kinds of unexpected things.
1 in 5 households in this neighborhood don't have a car. That means walking across a 6-lane road.
But there's a lot of running the lights right here,
Yep.
so we pretty much have to hold off the kids.
The intersection a block away has the 2nd highest number of car crashes in the entire city. Kim's been at this for a year and a half now, twice a day, beginning and end of the school day. Why do you do it?
Well, I need the extra money because I'm on Social Security, fixed income. This is extra income for me.
You've been here a while in Las Vegas?
I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I was a blackjack dealer for 23 years.
How come you're not doing that? That's got to be easier than this.
Not really. It's easier. There's no traffic,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of different things that comes with the pressure of blackjack dealing. So,
Do you like blackjack?
No. It's a job.
So how come you do this now? I mean, this is, there's a bunch of things you could do. Why this?
I just found out that I could have the weekends off what I needed, and I could actually, it feels like I'm doing something for the community and for myself. It helps the kids. I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something besides taking people's money. So.
As we're talking, things start to pick up. A parent walking toward the school, a kid or 2 trickling out. Well, look, Mom's got her hands full, right? She's got a stroller, she's got a baby.
You know him before the baby's born.
Yep. And then around 2:15, that river that Kim was talking about. Hordes of kids gathering on both sides of the street. I see what you mean. It gets busy. And I back up, leaving Kim alone to do her thing as more and more kids keep showing up. All right, she's a little fearless. She just kind of runs right out there. She's constantly on the move, Kim is, blowing her whistle, running into the middle of the street with her stop sign and the neon vest until every kid is across. A lot of them saying hello to Kim. Thank you.
It's really nice to see the same kids over and over.
Yeah, I bet.
We're out here like the post office. We're rain, hail, sleet, whatever. We're out here.
So what's the worst part of this job?
I think it's the weather, pretty much.
All right, so we're lucky today. It's cloudy. It's not that hot. What's it like out here in August? Because there are no trees, there's no shade, there's no nothing.
Yeah, it's never get used to it. I put ice packs on me because that's about all you can do, really.
If it's not the sun and the heat, it's the rain. And when it rains here, the water flows downhill from downtown, east toward Lake Mead, straight down Stewart Avenue.
Yeah, everything
Right.
comes down
downhill.
here. All
And
the
so
water
and
comes
so this
down.
is where the water and there's
Exactly.
flooding
And we are trying to get the kids across the street, and it's almost like impossible. I mean, I had some parents carry them on their backs across this river that we have when the monsoon hits. So.
Eventually, the kids stop coming. So while we wait for the stragglers, let me ask you this. What's the most important thing for people to know about this intersection right here?
To have patience. It is a very busy intersection. There's a lot of little kids out there and families that need people to be safe on this road because it's really dangerous.
Thanks, Tim. Fixing that danger is a key part of the Stewart Avenue overhaul. They're going to widen the sidewalks, add a bike lane, lower the speed limit, and plant 700 trees so people aren't walking out in the Las Vegas summer sun.
All right, showtime. Holy crap, it's hot.
Just a block away from Stewart and 28th, we stop again.
Welcome to East Las Vegas Community Center.
Tell me who you are.
My name is Guillermo Bonet-Laboy. I am the recreation coordinator here at East Las Vegas Community Center.
Tell me about the community here in East Las Vegas.
Well, it's a very cultural and diverse community. They typically call this community center basically the heart of the east side of the Hispanic community. We do have a lot of very hardworking families in the community. That's who attends.
What do they do? Where do they work?
I would say a lot of our families are in hospitality. I would go as far
Casinos,
as,
right?
casinos, construction workers.
More than 1 in 4 people in East Las Vegas live below the poverty level. And the unemployment rate out here is higher than it is in the city as a whole.
Show me around a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
The East Las Vegas Community Center is huge. It reopened in 2022 after a big renovation.
I believe they put about $2 million into the renovations of the facility, which is beautiful. So we are a multi-generational facility where we offer programming for both youth and adults.
Seniors are usually there in the morning. The community center offers low-cost breakfasts. And then Guillermo said people stick around. They play chess or pool.
Oh, and here's the gym.
Yeah, so this is where they do dance.
Oh, dance. Sorry.
Yeah,
Didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Social dance. And they'll come in and
Wait, is she tap dancing?
yes, she's tap dancing.
That's great.
She is 90 years old.
No.
And still tap dances like she was 15.
Wow.
So
There are
Yes.
tons of classrooms for everything from a sewing club to classes that help immigrant parents navigate the local school system.
So what's the biggest challenge you think for this place?
the biggest challenge that I've had so far is just making sure community members and the participants feel comfortable coming in here. Sometimes it could be difficult with the financial aid process of things.
Yeah, that's tough, right?
Just
I mean-
because of the sharing of documents.
Sure,
and
totally. How long have you been in Las Vegas?
I have been in Las Vegas since I was 3 years old. So I'm
that right?
34 now. So quite
wow.
some time. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic.
All right.
I would go back home every
So
summer.
are your parents still here?
Yes.
Are they still alive?
Yes, my dad's in Vegas.
So what do they think?
Oh, my dad loves Las Vegas. He's actually a school teacher. He teaches bilingual science. And then my mom was a district manager of Burger King. So they did pretty well for themselves, I would say.
Yeah.
But as all people who move here, there's a little bit of struggle at the beginning, and you kind of just have to find your way. And that's kind of how I found my way here, by providing the community and people similar to me opportunities so they can be in places and jobs like my mom had or my dad had or I have.
What he's talking about is economic mobility and a small, in the grand scheme of things, street upgrade that, with federal money, could have big implications for the local economy. Things like improving the bus stops or adding a bike lane is going to make it easier for people to get to and from work or school, and that making Stewart Avenue a nicer, easier place to be is going to bring more businesses to the neighborhood too. And that brings us to Stewart Avenue stop number 3, about a mile west on the 207 bus.
How are you? I'm Kai. Nice to see you, Carlos. How are you?
You want water?
I'm okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Coronas. That's
Carlos Gomez is Vice President of Business Development at the Latin Chamber of Commerce of Nevada. They work with businesses across the state, and while there aren't a ton of businesses on this stretch of Stewart, there are some. Moms and pops next to the 7-Elevens, restaurants, a tailor, that sort of thing. And for those businesses, Carlos is kind of the guy.
Tell me about yourself.
Okay, I'm Mexican, born and raised in Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico, and so I'm 65 and happy and really, really fortunate to help people because I used to have own a business in Mexico here, and I sold my business 2019 before COVID. So for me, now on, happy hour, afternoon, every single day.
What kind of business?
Construction. Was a drywall and paint. Then I moved for demolition a little bit, but I'm too old for that. So it's a lot of work, a lot of stress.
So when you go talk to these small businesses, you know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Carlos helps new businesses find their footing, and he helps existing ones deal with issues like inflation or hiring. And right now, the businesses he's working with in East Las Vegas are not doing so well.
So when the city works on Stewart Avenue, and in 3 years, whenever they get the money, they tear it up, and it's going to take 2 years to build it. So it's going to be like 5 years before it gets fixed.
Yes.
What's that disruption going to do to the people?
Well, I will tell you the experience, yes, we had. On Fremont Street and Easter, which is pretty much close to this area, they do the sewer system. They spend 17 months doing that. And what we saw is businesses weren't ready to the traffic problems and foot traffic. So they lose everything there.
That's the contradictory part of this whole thing. The same businesses that could benefit from the street getting an upgrade could also suffer from reduced foot traffic for years while the city's doing construction and it's harder to get around Stewart.
Do you trust the federal government?
No. It's like when you're married. You're married. You trust your wife? Sometimes I do. So that's the federal government. It's the same thing. You need to live with it. So it takes so many steps, so many red tape, so many things to bring $1 to our community.
Coming up, the person handling all that red tape, the woman in charge of the Stewart Avenue project. That's after the break.
Marketplace is supported by Bitwarden. With cybersecurity a top priority for business, the Bitwarden Password Manager offers multiple authentication options for single sign-on for enterprises. Learn more at bitwarden.com. And by Ripple, a new investigative podcast that returns to the scene of major events and discovers the long-term impacts that have been raging unnoticed for years or decades. Listen now to Ripple.
Support for WNYC comes from Art Yard, an alternative contemporary art and performance center in Frenchtown, New Jersey, presenting performances by Joseph Keckler, Caleb Teicher, Red Barat, and Zoe Keating this winter. More info at artyard.org.
On the next Brian Lehrer Show, excerpts from an analysis of the only debate in the Tom Suozzi-Mazi Pilip race to replace George Santos in Congress, and what's the state of the race in that high-stakes special election in Queens and Nassau County. Voting continues through Tuesday. Also, more on the Supreme Court's Donald Trump Insurrection Clause hearing. The Brian Lehrer Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on WNYC.
You're listening to Marketplace on WNYC. In the 7 o'clock hour of All Things Considered, President Biden won't face charges over the classified documents found at his home and a D.C. office. There's evidence he willfully retained and disclosed classified materials as a private citizen. That and more at 7.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Risdall. We're continuing our series Breaking Ground on Stewart Avenue in East Las Vegas. The city won a $24 million federal grant to fix this street up. It's not a huge amount of money for a not huge project, but it does show what happens when the federal government steps into a local economy. Our final stop of the day is the person in charge of getting that project done, red tape and all.
Hi, by the way. I'm Kai. Nice to see you,
Very
Joey.
nice to
How
meet
are
you.
you?
Joey Paskey is the director of public works for the city of Las Vegas.
Up here like this with the microphone. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. What'd you do before
Not
that?
a natural thing for engineers to talk to is a microphone. We're like,
It's all good. It's all good. You're doing great.
Great.
What'd you do before that?
I was actually the city traffic engineer and deputy director of public works here at the city for a little over 5 years before that.
Where are we? This is a nice office.
This is a nice office. So we are here at City Hall in the middle of downtown Las Vegas.
Strip is what, that way?
The strip is that way. So you can see the stratosphere there, and the strip goes towards the south. So it runs north-south.
Joey's got a coffee mug that looks like a stoplight on her desk. Also books on traffic engineering and fluid mechanics on her bookshelf. It's on the 5th floor of City Hall, 2-ish miles from where the Stewart Avenue construction site is going to be.
Tell me why Stewart Avenue.
That, without sounding bad, that part of town has been really neglected in terms of our infrastructure. It has not kept up with the glitz and the glamour and everything of everywhere else. And quite honestly, it was time. So we have looked at all of the roads in the city. We know which ones have the highest concentrations of crashes that cause fatalities and serious injuries. Stewart, a chunk of Stewart is one of those.
So you read in the newspaper a couple of years ago that the Biden administration has these plans for infrastructure, and you say, I'm going to get us some of that money.
Yes, that's exactly what we
is
said.
that pretty much what it
that
was?
was pretty much what that was, yes.
Okay, and then what did you do?
So then we really looked at all of the different programs that came out of the bipartisan infrastructure law. And then we cross-referenced that with a list of our projects, ones that we had in design, ones that were near construction, and also ones like Stewart that hadn't started yet, but were kind of on our wish list.
Let me zoom in on that for just a second. Fixing up Stewart Avenue had been on the Public Works Department's list for a long time, but the city wasn't able to get it going until now and this federal money. That is government in the economy. Cities getting support from the feds for projects that, big picture, are actually pretty small, but that they don't have the funding for on their own.
When do you actually get the money?
That's a good question. It depends. Yes, it's complicated.
But that's got to be crazy making, because you have
It is
designers
crazy.
you have to hire, you have scheduling
Right.
you have to do, you have contractors, I imagine.
Right. So it kind of depends on the status of your project, because this is design and construction. So what that means is for us is that
The city of Las Vegas was awarded the federal grant, $24 million, in August of 2022. They celebrated then, but they still don't have the money.
Granted that you're a public works professional and I'm not, this seems really complicated.
It is.
And here you are running I don't know, how many people you have working for you? 500 people?
550.
Okay, 550 people in a major city in the United States. Let's say you're the Public Works Department in, no offense to Ottumwa, Iowa, but it's not a big city like Las Vegas. How do you think everybody else does it?
Well, a lot of them don't, because they're nervous about doing it. They don't have experience doing it. But that's another thing that USDOT has done really well with this program, is they really tried to go out into these communities, into the smaller rural areas that might not have as many resources or haven't done federal work before. And they're trying to give them tools to do so. They're trying to really remove the barriers from people applying for this money just because it's complicated.
So you're going to put up signs at some point saying, you know, this money provided for and blah, 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 and measure or whatever. And then you're going to tear this place up for like 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
And they're going to take the hit, right? The folks who live out there.
They are, which is it is unfortunate. However, one of the really big keys to this project, and we've made it very clear to the designers that are coming on board, is the community outreach component. Is this has to feel like it is not being done to anybody. This has to be done with them. So their input, their opinions, their concerns will all be taken into account from the very beginning, not just when construction starts, but we're going to start now with the planning there are going to be pain points. That's just inevitable. But we really do think that the end result's gonna outweigh all that.
Pain points, like Carlos was talking about for the local businesses, like Kim is going to have to deal with when it's even harder for kids and their families to cross the street. And at City Hall, Joey Paskey has her own complications too, managing all that red tape.
So President Biden comes to town on a campaign swing or an infrastructure stop or whatever, and the mayor calls you one day and says, Joey, President's got 20 minutes and he wants to come say hi. What do you want him to know about all of this?
So what we typically want people to know, and we were just
not people, the person.
The person. I want him to know that this is working. It's going to take some time, and people need to be a little bit patient. It was a year ago you talked about putting the sign up for the corridor. We're going to be doing this, and USDOT sent it out, and they're like, "You want a grant? Here's this." And I'm like, "I can't put the sign out right now because I'm not going to turn any dirt for the next 5 years." But I want them to know that it's working. I think we all know it's not enough money. It's a historical amount of money, and we may never, ever see it again. But I think what everybody needs to know is it's still not enough to maintain everything that we have. But, hey, it's a great start, and we'll take anything we can get to make things better.
Do you worry about losing this money, that Washington's going to change its mind and say, yeah, no? And, I mean, there are elections coming up. Things change. Congress has changed. Congress, who knows what they're doing, right? You worry about that?
Yes, we do worry about that. But what we can control right now is that the 5 years of the bill that we're going to get.
2031 is when the city figures it's going to be done with this one seemingly kind of small project. But we spent today on this one seemingly kind of small project for this reason. It's not a big new wind farm or a high-tech chip facility. It's not the Hoover Dam or the New Deal. It's not something we're going to be talking about in 90 years. But for the people who live in East Las Vegas, it's something they're going to be thinking about every single day.
Marketplace is supported by JLL. For 240 years, JLL has been committed to offering trusted and innovative solutions in leasing, management, investment strategies, and technology. JLL.com. See a brighter way. And by Betterment, the automated investing platform that helps make it easy to be invested for the long term. Learn more at Betterment.com. Investing involves risk.
This final note on the way out today, a very big economic reality that's hitting this not very big in the grand scheme of things project on Stewart Avenue. It's something we talk about a lot on this show, and we tried to avoid it today, but sometimes you just can't. Total projected cost when Las Vegas asked for the federal grant on this thing back in 2022, just shy of $50 million. Now, a year and a half of inflation in this economy later, well, many millions more.
Does it keep you up at night?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. This is radio. They can't see your smile, and you're smiling so you don't cry, I suppose. Right?
A little bit, but no, it absolutely does. This one and other projects too. I mean, projects are costing way more than we thought they would, and we're not going to be able to deliver as much as we want, as quickly as we wanted to. So we're going to have to prioritize. This is absolutely one of our highest priority projects that we're going to have. So we're going to make sure that we have the fund. And this one it'll go one way or the other. It'll go.
It'll go, but it's complicated. More of our series Breaking Ground, the new ways that government is in this economy, coming up in a couple of weeks. John Buckley, John Gordon, Rick Carr, Diantha Parker, Amanda Peacher, and Stephanie Seek are the Marketplace editing staff. Amir Bibawe is the managing editor. I'm Kai Rizdal. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.